many issues have arisen regarding Philippine territorial integrity over several conflicts, not to mention territories like the Scarborough Shoal, for example. And although there are so many concerns about these, like where do we base the actual, like where do we actually determine the territorial waters of the Philippines? At the end of the day, I think it's all about sovereignty. I think it's all about where we believe a land culturally belongs to the Philippines, and we have to go beyond and look beyond politics. We have to look beyond the politics that exists in having ulterior motives with regards to the future of our nation, sources of our wealth, and we have to look at everything with a genuine concern of preservation of the integrity of our environment. And we have to ask the question, who is truly capable of furthering the intentions of a people, of a culture, and of a place as far as their natural resources are concerned and their quality of life? Thank you.
All right, right on the clock. Thank you, Ms. Cebu. Ms. Taguig.
One beautiful thing about the Philippines that I hope we can all keep in mind is our resources and how we are so rich in them. So when it comes to our territory and that line of demarcation, let us look at the generations that have used our resources, the culture that we have built with our beautiful seas, and the resources that we gain as in the global economy, in our imports and our exports. That is where we show the world what the Philippines has to offer. And I want everyone, when they look outside at the beautiful blue skies and the beautiful line where our shores meet, to know that that is the Philippines, and we must always keep that proud.
Thank you, Mr. Gig City. All right. All right, for the next topic, we will start with you, Mr. Gig, and our next topic is wage hike. Wage hike.
When I first moved here to the Philippines, actually, before I had my own clothing store, I worked minimum wage in my clothing store. And being a stylist there, one thing that I learned was the value of a peso. But I think the other thing I saw is just how hardworking our Filipinos are and how valuable it is to ensure that there is always youth. One of the things that I always want to, not by increasing our minimum wage. This is our way of giving our hand to our people and telling them, thank you for working hard. Here is the fruit of your labor. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gig. You have 1 minute, Ms. Cebu.
As a born and bred Cebuana, I have lived here all my life, and as such, I experienced the troubles and the trials of our people. Growing up, my father was an OFW, and he shouldn't have to have been that. There should be a way so that I can grow up with my father around, with my 6 siblings having a father figure in their life, without us having to resort to separation in order for us to seek a better life. I think that the wage hike, it is high time, by the way, for a wage hike. The quality of life of the Filipinos should take front and center when it comes to the concerns of the government. Because more than 50% of our population currently suffers from some form of economic poverty. So it's high time for a wage hike, and I think all of us can benefit from that. Because when we are fed and clothed and sheltered, then we can begin to think of the concerns of others. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Cebu. It's such an honor to be standing in front of these exceptionally empowered Filipinas. All right, our next topic will be freedom of information. Let's start with you, Ms. Cebu.
This is a very important topic, as I'm sure you all know. As a creative in this industry, as a student, and as a very outspoken individual, freedom of information is very important to me, as it should be to every single one of us, especially when it comes to, for example, freedom of the press. The press are our window into reality. We have to protect the freedom of speech of every individual, as well as the right of the press to deliver truth to the people, to our people, not just the people of the Philippines, but to the world, to genuinely and authentically reflect our situation so that we can work hand in hand, not just as people of the Philippines, as islands who care about each other, but as nations of the world, in order to make the world a better place, but also to fight for our unalienable human rights, our freedom of speech, our freedom of information, and of course, the quality of life that we live. It is a collective effort, and as beauty queens, it is our social responsibility to advocate that in everything that we do. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Cebu. Mr. Gig?
As a communication student, I know firsthand the value of information, and more specifically, the access to information. Especially now in this day and age, with the pandemic, with the elections, I think we have all seen firsthand just how important it is to stay informed. In fact, one of my personal advocacies is senior citizen mediation. It is truthful, it is relevant, and it is something that can help the Philippines. Because truly, what is the Philippines if not an amalgamation of all the beautiful, informed Filipinos?
Thank you very much, Mr. Gig. All right, we're down to our last topic. We'll
Filipino.
Less urgent. So we have to be very careful with what we say. We have to be accountable with how we believe other people or where we believe other people are associated. As citizens who listen and who have ears, we have to be responsible and to know that where we stand is not particularly affiliated with certain organizations that we may or may not see as bad, but as well, we have to know that there is more than meets the eye, and that is the point here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Cebu. All right, at this point, we will be doing the final question, and may we request Mr. Gig to please proceed outside as we will be giving Ms. Cebu City her chance to answer the final question. Thank you very much. All right, Ms. Cebu, how are you feeling?
Great,
Great,
thank
that's
you. How are
amazing.
you feeling?
I'm feeling
Can
nervous.
I come here or should
I'm
I
just
stay
kidding.
there?
Where should Ms. Cebu stay?
I don't know, I just came here because,
Okay,
okay,
yes.
thank
Yes,
you.
All right, please join me. All right.
My pleasure.
As Mr. Gig is still walking her way out, I'll ask about who are you wearing today? I love your dress. Your
I'm
Filipina.
actually wearing a Philippine designer, although I have yet to clarify on the name and who was kind enough to lend it to me.
It looks good in you.
Thank you so much. If you're out there, if you can hear me right now, wink. And my roomie, Patricia Dizon. One of the reasons being that when I started out in this pageant, like many people, we have so many differences. Our differences are generational. I've been in the pageant world for a while, but Pat is new to it. But Pat has taught me a lesson in the time that we spent in Boracay. It is that the true measure of an exceptionally empowered Filipina is how much she can pull other women up. And it was such a pleasure showing you the ropes of the pageant world.
Aww.
Love you, Domingo.
That's very sweet of you, Maria. Aw. Again, thank you. All right, Mr. Gig, please join me here on stage.
Hello.
You may rest first, Ms. Cebu. Yes,
So
see you later.
concerned. I heard reproduction and Trisha.
All right, so what do you think is the question?
Will Trisha's boyfriend?
Oh, no, let's not get into that. All right, let's not go there. All right, Mr. Gig, are you ready for your final question?
As ready as I'll ever be.
That's the spirit. All right, so the question is, if the world were to end tonight and you were given the power to save only one, who among your fellow candidates would you save and why? Got the same reaction. Again, if the world were to end tonight and you were given the power to save only one, who among your fellow candidates would you save and why?
Sorry, Ali. Without a doubt, without a doubt, I would save our candidate number 7, Erica Christensen. And the reason for this is, in how I've bonded with Erica, the one thing that I know truly is her core value is how she loves her mom and how she spends every day trying to make her mom proud. That is a value that I also have as well. And since we both contain that same belief and that same eagerness to make our mothers proud, I would want to make sure she would live long to make her mom proud too.
Thank you very much. I'm feeling a bit emotional as well. Thank you very much, Mr. Gig. All right, and there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That is the final round for this year.